What's good, everybody? It's your boy Server Air 405. It is the Final Four sports program. Obviously, I can't do this by myself. I am joined by three amazing, outstanding gentlemen. First off, we're going to go to the one man who loves boneless wings more than bone-in wings. We got Bray Dollars. What's up, Bray?
What a
Yeah,
strange flex. What a
yes,
strange
sir,
flex.
man. You know, I'll always stand by that, man. I think you get more when you order boneless than you do bone in.
Okay, well,
Such
we'll
a
say
12-year-old mindset, you little
we
bastard.
we might we might have to do a Final Four food review or something. And then next up, we got a person that I've had many battles with back when we used to do judge promo leagues, and hopefully one day we'll get that triple. We'll get that triple because we both split 1-1. We got Jay Prince Dior. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Once again, thanks for tuning in. Amazing to have you. Um, you know, we definitely have had some legendary battles, and then I hope that one day everything really just kind of rekindles and we could do it again, man. But for now, this is where we're at.
All right, I like it. All right, and
Yeah.
finally, when people ask me about this show and they say, "Do you have anybody on that gives stats?" and I say, "Well, I know a guy." We got Dre, even though it says iPhone 3, his name is Von Dre. What's up, Von Dre?
What up, big dog? Back at it again. Another episode. I actually got people at my job asking about the episodes now, man. So we must be doing something good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure they like and subscribe and share that shit. All right. So today's
Facts.
episode is basically going to be very simple. The whole episode is it's kind of like a start of a series where we're going to talk about the goats of the major sports. We're starting with the NBA today. So we're going to go into each position instead of just saying who the main goat is for each person. Okay. So, because I already know one answer for sure from Bray. I already know. So we're gonna at least we'll get to that point. We can mix it up in between if you want to, but we're gonna start off with the point guard position.
If you ask Bray, that man is the best at every position.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. It's almost like he loves him so much he wishes he was in a position with him. But that's a whole nother podcast.
oh,
Um so anyways, so I'm going off of the Bleacher Report story about, the best in every position. And we're going to start off with point guard. And they listed Magic Johnson
Yeah,
as the GOAT in that position.
yeah.
They put his stats and everything there. They said next up would be Chris Paul, Oscar Robinson, John Stockton, Jerry West. The
oh
biggest
my
current
goodness.
challenger they're saying is Steph Curry. So we're going to start with Bray because he's already shaking his head, moving around, flinging like Skip Bayless does. What do you think about the point guard position? Who's your GOAT and why?
The greatest point guard ever is Stephen Curry. Um, I I think he passed Magic up a couple years ago, and he's changed the game at a rate. I think what really did it for me was last year when I watched the Olympics and I watched that game for the gold medal and I watched him hit the dagger three over a double team. I was like, yeah, that's the greatest point guard to ever play the game, and I'm glad I got to witness that.
Okay. What do you guys think? Would you guys want to debate what Bray was saying and put
Um,
yours in there?
yeah, you know what? I actually agree with Bleacher Report. It's definitely Magic Johnson. Steph Curry's definitely on his way. Not saying he's not a generational talent and that he's not next up in that position, but when you do look at the stats, you got a guy averaging 19 points a game, you got 7 rebounds, 11 assists. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. And the impact that Magic had when he was playing for the Lakers is like unparalleled, and like how he played and like how hard it was to really defend the man. Um, love Steph Curry. Nothing to take from him, but I'm sorry, you just can't beat Magic in that position.
Huh? Dre,
He
what you think?
revolutionized the shot. So
Right?
So if we're going down that route, you can't look past Steph Curry. You can't say Oscar Robinson because I feel like Russell Westbrook passed him up a few years back when he was on his triple double run for a whole season. Magic Johnson, Well, he evolved the position, but there was other guys still at that position that were just as top tier as him, not just him. Like you had Isaiah Thomas still out there. You did have the Bob Cousy's, the John Havliceks, the guys that are way past them. These are guys that were good point guards also. But Stephen Curry has revolutionized the 3-point shot for every position. Everybody has to be able to shoot a 3-pointer now. You can't play any position in the NBA without being able to shoot a 3-pointer. He literally has revolutionized the game of how it's supposed to be played now and how it is played in transition. Stephen Curry is the greatest 3-point shooter slash point guard there ever is. First ever unanimous MVP. There's never been a unanimous MVP. Michael Jordan existed. Kobe Bryant existed. LeBron James existed. None of them have that. Stephen Curry does.
I will say that, just to kind of play devil's advocate with it, I will say that um, Steph Curry is definitely the greatest shooter of all time, if you ask me. But there were great shooters before him, and it's not like, yeah, he took the 3-point shot to the next level. He took that position to the next level. I will say that. But I think that Magic, the reason I say Magic is because he was so ahead of his time. Like Steph Curry is with the times. And I think Magic was just ahead of his time. Just the way he played was just like, ugh, man. But that's not to take anything from him. I agree with everything you said, Bray. I really do. But like I said, there's been guys in the past and guys in the present who maybe not shoot as good, but shoot pretty damn good to, at least compete,
Okay, Bray, what do you want to jump in and say?
I mean, to add on to it, the other night Steph Curry had 12 3-pointers. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was true.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm a little biased. I'm an LA guy, so I'm right off the bat, I'm gonna say Magic, but
Yeah.
I am leaning into the Steph Curry argument as him being one of the greats because, with Magic, he started off very young, and he was getting success relatively early, with a team that wasn't expected to do a lot back in those days, and then Showtime became Showtime, and he literally was like, when you talk about somebody who's leading the team, like leading the fast breaks, no like passes, the stats, it wasn't like you're gonna get like these big game, point games from Magic Johnson. He was just giving the ball up. He'd score when he would need to. So he was just like a different player than Steph is. Steph's more like he leads the game in a different way, kind of like a new age
Hmm.
style. So I feel like he is the best shooter in NBA history. Just some of the shots he makes, anyways, is just insane. He's to me, I feel like he has lost this little bit of a step over the last few years. He's kind of getting towards the end of his career. He's still great, still one of the best players in the league. But I think that he, it's hard for me to just admit it, but I think that he is the best. But I just think it's kind of like we're in a modern time now, and the only thing that keeps me holding on to Magic, besides being from Los Angeles, is the fact that Magic's career was cut short because he got
Yeah,
he
because of
got the
HIV,
virus. Yeah.
so
that's his fault.
Well, yeah,
I mean, yeah,
but
come on,
but
dude.
still,
Like,
but I mean, but
it's
still,
his fault. That could happen to anybody.
Well,
Well,
fucking,
yeah.
well, now I hope he learned a lesson to fucking wrap it up next time. How about that?
How about this? He's
I mean,
still
but that
alive.
was like that was literally what I was gonna say. It's like, it's hard to really gauge how great Magic could have been because had to hang it up way earlier than he should have.
Yeah.
He had another. I mean, I don't even know how many years he had left in him the way he was
He
playing at the
he
time.
had some good years left. There wasn't any signs that he was slowing down. If he would have played, but who knows? But that's a lot of ifs and not a lot of facts.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so I think for the most part, I'll go along with the Steph Curry because at the end of the day, by the time Steph's career is over, it'll be very, very clear. For some, obviously, it's clear for some of you guys already, but it'll be abundantly clear that he's the GOAT. So I agree with that. But Magic's right there. Um, According to this article, Chris Paul is somebody they lean towards as being the best. Um,
Where does that come from? From
uh,
what?
No, I
And
can,
what?
I can, I can, I can see that 100%. I just don't think he's done enough.
yeah,
The
I don't think the
best
accolades
though,
speak.
like the best is. I mean, I can say, listen, I think we have to like really take time and say that there's a marked difference between being one of the greats, one of the tops, and being the best. Like,
yeah.
there's no way Chris Paul is above guys like Magic, above guys like Steph. There's zero way. I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like the only reason why they put him in that category, up there in that rank too, is he's a pure point guard. Chris Paul literally just does everything a point guard is supposed to do. He doesn't
Yeah,
go over the top,
he's an
doesn't
elite
do anything
position
less.
player.
I
Yeah.
He's a
mean,
productive point guard. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some guys play the position well. Some guys are great position players, and some guys are just great basketball players. And I mean that goes with any sport. You know, some guys are just really good, and it's easier though in basketball to transcend because it's such a fill in where you need to fill in type game. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But at the end of the day, man, say that he is even. I don't even think it's a debate. He's not the GOAT. I mean, he's
No.
not the GOAT.
No.
he's
I
not
think
even.
that.
He's not even. He wouldn't even be close in my books. He's not. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put him ahead of Steve Nash.
He's not
Yeah,
better
no,
than
seriously,
I was
he's
gonna
not
say
yeah.
that.
he's not even better than Jason Kidd. I'll be totally
Steve-
honest
Yeah,
with you.
seriously.
Steve Nash is very underrated.
Back
Very
Very much.
underrated. Yeah,
Back-
two-time
back
MVP. People don't talk
Over
enough
over
about Steve Nash.
Kobe
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's something that people need to talk more about. But we'll go into the next position here, shooting guard, and they got Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The people that they said that are next up would be Kobe, Clyde Drexler, AI, and Dwayne Wade. The biggest current challenger they have is James Harden. So
I mean,
what do you guys think
No,
of that?
no. So
No.
Jordan definitely is the GOAT in that position. I mean, because he's in arguments to be the GOAT of basketball, period.
Right.
So he's at least have to give him the GOAT of the shooting guard position. I love AI. He's my favorite basketball player of all time, but AI did not win any rings. And that is, when you're talking about the GOAT, that is important, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Bray, what do you think? Or-
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll Jordan obviously the GOAT, but then you get the guys that follow behind him. Those are the ones that we like to discuss. So I mean, you got your Kobe's, you got your Dwayne Wade's, you got your Allen Iversons, but there's one name that's never really brought up, and he's so slept on as a two guard, and this is all time. Nobody ever talks about Manu Ginobili. Manu Ginobili is one of the greatest two guards to ever grace the court of a basketball. Bro came off the bench averaging 17.6 per night off the bench through four titles.
Yeah.
Modestly.
He's cut from that. He's cut from that
He's
Steve
cut
Nash
from
deal.
that. Yeah, he's cut from that European cloth where the guys like Luka Doncic watch the people like Manu Ginobili, and
Yeah.
that's why their game is the way it is now.
I hated him when we play them. I hated
Yo,
him. He was
'Cause
always a problem.
he
Buckets.
killed teams, dude. He
Yeah,
killed teams
he was
Off the
always a
bench.
by
problem.
himself off the bench.
Yeah,
Off the bench.
that's the scary
But
part.
I mean, honestly, I mean, we can't really. I mean, it's hard though because I mean, you can't really shoot down Kobe. Kobe has a. You could
No, you can't.
debate that Kobe could even be over Jordan in some senses because of longevity.
Yeah,
I feel that. I feel that 100%. I just feel like with Jordan's prime, there's like nothing that you can ever go against. It's hard, bro. It's
And
so
Jordan
hard.
didn't have the team that Kobe did, so
I mean,
Facts.
Ray, what do you think?
I mean, Jordan was playing lesser competition. But that's the conversation
my-
for later on.
Lesser
Different era basketball, bro.
competition.
Different era
they were
basketball.
playing physical basketball, not this pussyfoot
yeah.
stuff you like, dude.
Yeah. Anyways, I think when it comes to the shooting guard position, you have your 1 and 2. That's Jordan and Kobe, I guess. And then like it really gets down to like, I personally would probably put D Wade at 3. That's just because of what D Wade was doing.
That's fair.
AI probably next, even though I never really watched a lot of AI film, but
You're missing out, bro.
You're missing
missing
out, bro.
out.
You're missing
And
out.
when you're talking about a guy who did it all by himself with no team, yeah, he took that team to the finals.
Go ask Surfer about the 2001 Game 1 Finals.
I don't
48
want-
points
that-
in overtime.
That scared the
Dude.
shit out of me. I thought that was gonna be a wrap, like the start of something bad.
Dude. And I would be to be 100% honest, if AI had a team around him, they would have been 2 times fucking champions, bro. He would have had them. They would have been back to back.
I wanted him to be a Laker so bad. My entire life, I wanted him to be a Laker. He was literally one of my favorite players, and just watching him play, and then hurting us in the finals that year, I was like, man, almost kind of rooting for him a little bit because he was like one of those guys you'd like to see win a championship because of the team that he carried to the finals. When you talk
Carried,
about people carrying a team to the finals, it was
carried,
literally
Yeah,
him.
yeah, it was him. And now
bro.
to ask Bray, he says, "Well, he had the Kimbe Mutombo." Yeah, a washed up the Kimbe
Yeah,
Mutombo. At
wasn't
least
the
Uh,
same.
He was washed,
Yeah,
bro.
he
but
Bro
was
he
this,
had
was
so
bro,
washed.
super washed,
AI dropped
super washed.
50. He dropped 50 twice in the second round of the playoffs just to get past Vince Carter. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Facts.
That's how
Yup.
difficult ball was for AI back in the day.
Yeah.
imagine
And
struggling.
still they're playing a more physical game than they are today.
At
Struggling.
6 foot.
They would,
Struggling.
yeah. I mean, dude would go into the paint and get fucked up and like barely get a foul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So Bleacher Report says here with Bryant retired and Dwayne Wade still deciding if he wants to return for another. Okay, how old is this article?
Oh
Hold
yeah,
That's like that's
that's
gotta be
like
that's
that's
gotta be
why.
an old
See,
article.
that's
Yeah,
why
hold
that's
on.
why I said like
yeah, with
everybody.
Bryant retired.
You
Jesus. He retired in life.
He's like
Retired life. My man is deceased. I love that boy to death, but
His helicopter driver retired mid-flight.
pack that thing up.
but like
Oh, bro.
because like when you mentioned James Harden, I was like, okay, the list has to be older because it's like okay, we look at current day James Harden and you're like, oh yeah, like that's something that we can
Yeah,
all
that's like
scoff
almost a
at.
joke, dude.
Right.
But you go look at when he was in Houston and averaging 40 a night.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
fine.
yeah, I mean that's why as Sixers fans we were so excited for him to come here and play with Joel. It's like, dude, like this guy is a legit like superstar. But I swear, man, there's something with the Sixers. A team comes here, I mean, a star comes here, and they just die here. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Stars
It's
die
Philly,
in
dude.
Philly.
It's Philly. Philly's trash. That's
I
why.
feel bad for y'all when it's basketball season. I really do. And they've lost me a lot of money through the years on sports gambling. Especially when the years where they look really good going into the playoffs, you know,
Yeah,
like there's been those years where
how
it's
like the
like,
past
hey,
two, the
yeah.
past two.
And
I was about to say back when you guys had Ben Simmons.
I mean, but here's the
that's-
thing: the Ben Simmons never produced for us, bro. Like he produced like for a year, and then like after that, it was all the Kardashian shit and the injuries and the divaness and not wanting to play. Now Joel's going through the same thing, and it's just like we're about the process failed. We're about to have to start it again.
all right.
I mean,
Well, we're
Right,
gonna as I'm recovering from that Kobe Bryant joke, which is fucking hilarious. We're gonna go next to the small forward position. This is gonna be Bray's favorite because they got LeBron
Lead it,
listed,
Brad.
but
and they
It's
got
true.
next up they say Elgin Baylor, Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, John Havlicek, and they say the biggest current challenger is
Wait, they're
Kevin
putting
Durant.
well,
they're putting Elgin Baylor over Larry Bird.
Yeah, like
That
what the
is
fuck is like
insane,
Bleacher
bro.
Report
That's
high
not
as
in
fuck?
that's
Are you
not in any
serious?
that's not in any order. That's just
Oh,
it's
okay,
listing
okay,
it. There's not in
okay.
any, that's not in any
Elgin
order.
Baylor would be at the very bottom of that list if
I mean,
he's on it at all. Like,
That's
I'm sorry.
here we go again with the shoot. We just did the same thing with the shooting guard topic. You got your one, you got LeBron. Then it's the people that follow. You got Bird, you
Durant.
got KD. You still can't forget about Scottie Pippen. You cannot forget about Dr. J.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These
Mm.
are household names that cannot be forgotten. But we all know number. I can't fault the motherfucker no more. LeBron's the best small forward ever play a game.
Yeah, yeah. LeBron is definitely. I mean, you got him averaging 30 points, 6.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 2.3 steals. I mean, he's doing it for the long haul. You know, so I mean, you can't take it away from him. As much as I want to hate on LeBron, he's definitely the best small forward to play the game. But like a guy like Larry Bird, who once again was playing in a whole different era where like, and he was a physical player. Like Larry Bird was a physical guy. Like in
He
a
was.
a league of dogs who wanted to rip his head off. You know,
Yeah.
then you think Dr. J, like what? Even though it's hard to like compare guys like that because they played in a era of basketball where like I don't even did they have the 3-point line yet when Dr. J was playing?
He did.
No,
He did. He did. He was there for it.
You're-
Okay, he was there. Okay.
back when your local firemen and school janitors were playing on the court with them.
That's your favorite thing to
Back
say.
in the day,
That's
Bray
his
was playing
favorite
with them.
line.
You know,
Yeah.
oh man,
I was
he
going to
playing
Dr.
as a
J's
mailman
games.
and a plumber.
I was going to the games. Bray, what do you think? Obviously, you agree with the LeBron, but like, what do
Oh
you?
yes. I think two is Kevin Durant, and then I think three I think it could be Larry Bird, but like I don't know, man. The name that didn't get mentioned was Kawhi Leonard. Like I think is kind of
Ooh.
Kawhi's kind of underrated
Mm.
in some aspects. Yeah, he's had the kind of this crappy run with the Clippers, but he was a dog.
Yeah, you know what, Bray?
Yeah,
I'll give you that one. He is slept on. I think what happens is this, dude. A lot of times these guys have these they have these awesome stretch. They have an awesome stretch of seasons, and then they fizzle out, and then they kind of overstay their welcome in a way. So
Yeah.
it's hard, it almost taints their legacy, and that's kind of what's happening to Kawhi right now. It's like it's almost tainting his legacy because he's having this really rough run right now. Um, but at the end of the day, you can't take anything away from what he's done in history. He's a dog, 100%.
yeah.
What's his What's the guy's name? Worthy. James Worthy wasn't mentioned either.
He look, James Worthy is one of the
That's
greats.
fair.
He's one of the greats, and obviously my Laker bias, LA bias is there, but I wouldn't put him over like a Larry Bird or Kevin
Well, no,
Durant
I
or
mean
anything.
obviously, like
Because I mean, there's a lot of
obviously,
great players in that position. Like you could go to the list through an
Dude,
era.
I'm
There's a lot of
I'm
great
sorry,
positions.
but Kawhi don't get past Scottie Pippen for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
not
plays.
better
Scotty
than
was
Scottie
over.
I mean,
Pippen.
they're
Scotty
kind
was
of
definitely.
they're kind of carbon copies.
Scott. No,
I'd say that
Scotty
they're
was
No,
carbon. I'd
overshadowed.
say
Scott.
they're
No, no,
close.
no.
They're close, but they're not a carbon copy.
Scotty was overshadowed by Jordan. Let's call
yeah.
a spade a spade. Scotty would be a star anywhere else.
Well, when Jordan retired, he took the
He
Bulls
went
to a
to the
pretty.
Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, when Jordan
Yeah, that's
retired,
when Jordan retired. That's when he's past his prime.
no, when Jordan
No.
retired,
When
Pippen was
Jordan
leading
first
the
retired in
Bulls.
'93, he led him to like a 54
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
20 something record.
yeah, they still got a pretty good record. They didn't do anything else, but he had a good season leading them, which is what he always wanted. But for the most part, like he needed Jordan too to kind of they just meshed well together. It's kind of like Stockton
Yeah,
and Malone.
they needed each other. Yeah, they were Kobe and Shaq for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Mhm.
Bray, do you have any other thoughts before we move on to the next?
no, because I think the power forward position is where it really gets the most interesting.
This is about to
All
get
right.
interesting for
So
sure.
power
Mhm.
forward, you're right. That's the next one. So they got Tim Duncan listed as the
Tim
best power
Duncan, that's
power
what I was
forward.
about to say before you said
Timothy
it. Hell
Duncan,
Their
yeah.
their
the GOAT.
next up is Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, Dirk, and the biggest current challenger is Anthony Davis.
So
Well,
many
No,
so many
no.
great players at that
Hell,
position. So many great players at that position. I mean, I still think it goes to Tim Duncan, but like to me, KG was just like a more impactful, like like force on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like he could take over a game completely,
Yeah,
and I love that about him.
Dirk's fadeaway is one of the nastiest things I've ever watched. He'd hit that motherfucker over anybody.
Dirk was a nasty fucking player. I loved Kevin Garnett, but my thing was is like he wasn't like I mean he went to Boston and did really well. And that kind of like for me it took him to the next level in when you're talking about the greats because when he was like with Minnesota, he was good, but he wasn't like at that level. Going to a team like Boston, going to a market like Boston, he was successful there. And I think that brings him into that. But it's tough to say, is he better than Tim Duncan? You know what I mean?
Mm-mm,
Like, what other
mm-mm,
play like Charles
mm-mm,
Barkley was great, but never won championships. But he wasn't
mm-mm.
like a player like Dirk or even Carl Malone was great, but
Carmelo.
Karl Malone was great, but he
eh,
needed John Stockton. He
Yeah.
just
eh,
he just couldn't win a championship. He went to
Yeah,
the Lakers and couldn't win a
the goat in that
championship.
position to me, I definitely agree with Bleacher Report there. Definitely Tim Duncan. But there are a lot of guys who like there's so many great players in that position, and a lot of guys who you could make a debate for. I don't know how much that debate would hold up. You have to look at numbers, rings, and all that when you're talking about the goat. And Duncan has it all. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to take away. What would be one player like if Duncan never existed? What would be the guy? Because I think
I think it'd be Dirk.
you think it'd be Dirk? Because I think it's a bigger art. Like you have more of an argument and debate when Duncan's not in the picture, because there's a lot of people you can make a case
Yeah.
for. I agree with Dirk. I'd say Dirk is that dude because just the way he played for Dallas and brought him championship, and
Yeah.
he was just like a dominant, like he fit that position. You know what I mean? Like you could count on this dude. Like so, I would probably if Duncan didn't exist, I'd probably say Kurt or Dirk.
I'd,
Yeah,
I'd,
Yeah,
I'd,
I
I'd
would agree with
probably,
that.
I'd probably go Karl Malone, honestly.
he never won a championship
Mm,
though.
I know, but
yeah, I
but
can't do that.
I can hear that argument right there, right? But him and Charles Barkley are the only people within a Michael Jordan timeline to snatch an MVP from him. Both of them did. That you know how good that you have to be to snatch
How
MVPs from
much
Michael Jordan.
how much credence are we gonna really like? I feel like MVP voting is just kind of we
But
can't
you gotta
hold.
remember this isn't like modern day voting. This is back then when like games spoke for it. Charles
Yeah,
Barkley literally walked out there and dog walked your favorite power forward on a nightly basis in '93. Took them to the finals. They lost to who? Mike. Karl Malone walked out there, dog walks your favorite power forward all season. Who does he go to the finals and lose against to? Mike. The
it
only
just doesn't
people
feel. It
that
doesn't feel
stops them.
right. It doesn't feel right to really. Now I'm not saying not mention him on the top 10, but it doesn't feel right to mention him in the same vein as a guy like Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki or Charles Barkley or any of these guys we're talking about. It. I could put him. I probably wouldn't even put Karl Malone in the top 5. I would put him in the top 10 though.
Well, he's the third
He's
highest scorer of all
Yeah,
time.
he's definitely one of the greats, and
Behind
he's in the
Kareem, yeah.
conversation. But for me, like if you could be as great every season as the fans will love to see, but if you don't win a championship, that's what like looking at NFL, Dan Marino, you know what I mean? Like he was a great quarterback. He couldn't win a championship to save his life.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? But
And that's what does it. That's what does it for me. It's like when you can't. And we go to the NFL. That's what's doing it for me with these other guys that everyone's glazing, and then like they hate Jalen Hurts so much, but like Jalen has the ring, and like Josh Allen doesn't, Lamar doesn't, all these guys don't, and that's what separates them. We pop right back over to basketball. It's the same thing, you know.
Bray, you want to jump into last final thoughts before we get into center? Because we got a little under 10 minutes left.
Just one thing. An underrated guy that didn't get mentioned was Chris Webber.
I mean,
Also another one too that didn't get brought up either. Longtime Celtic Kevin McHale.
He tainted himself in Philly a little bit, but he's definitely that dude, Chris Webber.
Chris Webber's a guy, if you need a timeout called, he'll definitely call it whether you need it or not. So that's great. His NBA career wasn't that great to me, honestly. I just feel like he was a good player, but he wasn't like if you talk like we're in this conversation about who the GOATs are, he's just not in that conversation.
If you need a timeout call,
He'll call it even if you don't need it. Even he'll travel first and then he'll call the timeout. Even if you don't need it.
James Harden will travel.
Bro. But yeah, so and then what was Kevin McHale? Yes. He was a fucking bad player too. Those Celtics back then, people don't understand. And Bray, you need to go watch some stuff. You got to watch some of the old.
My God.
You got to watch some stuff. I know you watch
Bray,
LeBron all the time.
Bray randomly brings up old dudes from like the '60s. So I know he watches. Oh, I put this random white guy over Michael Jordan. Like it's like okay,
Right.
like, I know he has to know.
Guy was bagging
I'm being
groceries.
told to watch games. Yeah, like I'm being told to watch games where you can't even watch them in fucking HD. I gotta watch them in fucking like this fucking shitty ass fucking potato of a camera they were recording with back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad in the 90s, bro.
It
In the
was like
80s and
fucking
90s,
trash.
it wasn't that bad. It wasn't
All right,
that bad.
let's move on to center.
Yeah, let's go to center. And so they got, of course, they got Kareem as the best, and then
Obviously.
they listed
Say the name.
Will
Say the name. No, say the name. Who is it?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Patrick Ewing.
Okay, yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
So they
that's-
next up
yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, Hakeem, Shaq, Bill
Uh-huh.
Russell.
Yep, there it is.
And then they said their biggest current challenger, Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Come on, Rudy Gobert
Hey,
is the
hey.
biggest current challenger.
hey,
Did Bray make
This
this
is
list?
an old article, but still.
well, now I make the argument that Nikola Jokic is in the top 3 of the centers, maybe.
The
Wow.
most uncoordinated MVP I've ever seen in my life. Anyway,
That bastard.
you know what? Listen, man, Kareem. I think that it's safe to call him the GOAT, but I mean, to me, my personal GOAT, Shaq. I mean, it's just the impact that Shaq had on every team he was on was just unmatched, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Shaq on the Magic, Shaq on the Lakers. It doesn't matter where Shaq went. He just was an
Wait.
automatic difference maker.
Yeah, I definitely
What about-
agree with.
Hold up
What
before
about
you
Shaq
before
on
you
the
deep
Shaq on
dive
the Cavs?
before
Shaq on
you
the
deep
Suns.
dive
What was he
before
doing
you
then?
deep dive more into Shaq. You remember who beat him on the Magic, right?
Wait, say that again.
You remember who beat Shaq in the NBA Finals when he first
Hakeem.
went with the Magic?
Yeah, they played Houston.
Hakeem.
Yeah,
The
Hakeem.
greatest center
Yeah.
of all time,
No.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Wow, that's a hot take. Bray, what do you think?
It's not that high. I've heard it before. So it's,
I
I mean, to say that he's
it's,
the greatest.
it's debatable.
I mean,
wouldn't
that's
agree,
why
but
we're
it's debatable.
here.
I
That's
mean,
why we're
he's
here.
look, he's got an MVP. He's got two NBA championships, two defensive NBA MVPs, holds the record for most blocks ever. And on top of that, we're shutting down Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, all in the same prime.
I mean, I think it's obvious it's Kareem at one, but like Jokic is a big challenger for me. Disagree or agree? I think Jokic is a huge challenger, and will probably, when it's all said and done, be the greatest center of all time. Maybe.
I fucking hate that. I hate that guy, dude.
It's a stat
I don't know what
pattern
it
thing,
is.
man. It's stat pattern.
I can't
honestly.
stand Jokic, bro. I don't even think he's that good. He's just big.
I mean, honestly, like it's pretty clear. Like if you're looking at stats and championships, it's Kareem because
Well,
you
yeah,
can't
that's
really,
obvious.
it's obvious. But for me, I'm kind of like Jay. Shaq is my guy. I think he's the most dominant center. Clearly, I think he has the championship resume. I think he has the stats too. They're not better than Kareem's. There's not a lot of people in the league could even say they have better stats than Kareem.
Well,
but
there's one guy. There's one guy that can say that.
How many more points does he have than Kareem?
Ooh, right.
LeBron has 41,000 points. When I literally just checked it, and he's also played less games total than Kareem has played. Just want to point that out there.
He actually just hit 50K for like postseason and regular season the other day.
He's 1 point away from that. He's at 49.
1 point away.
Yeah, he just missed it the other night. Okay, so like I said, for me it's Shaq. I think Shaq is just that dude. I agree with Hakeem. I trolled before about Patrick Ewing because Patrick Ewing is low key kind of like one of my like favorites. You know what I'm saying? Like back, like just watching like 90s
Patrick Ewing's
NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like when you watch 90s NBA,
Patrick Ewing.
You think of Patrick Ewing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in wrestling, like when you see the big gold belt, you think of Flair. You know what I mean? Like So to me,
think of
like
Booker T, but yeah,
there's.
Booker T. We Hulk Hogan. We coming for you. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So we got 3.5 minutes left. So we went through all the positions. So now we're just going to get to mix them all up and group them all up. And everybody we talked about. We'll start with Bray. Who is the GOAT? Because I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. Who's the GOAT?
I mean, it's the kid from Akron, Ohio, drafted in 2003. LeBron,
he's not a kid. He's fucking 50.
James, bro. And also, before my final thought is that Kobe isn't a top 5 basketball player of all time. But that's where I'll leave it on.
He's not.
No, he's not.
Bray said stuff for shock value, dude.
Why is he not? Why?
Sure.
He's not better. He's not better than Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, Michael Jordan, and LeBron.
He's not better than Larry Bird?
No.
How?
Yeah. I was gonna say Magic. Like he's better.
Magic Johnson. He's better than Magic. Listen, dude. Like, let's be real, bro. Kobe is in the debate for the GOAT conversation. So how can he not be top
really
5?
Not. He's really
yes,
not.
He is. Yes, he is. He was that before he died. So you can't say it's because he died.
Yeah. All right, let's move it along. We got like 2 minutes left. Jay, go ahead. Let's do like 30 seconds.
Period. End of story. Jordan is the GOAT. It's what it is, bro. Like LeBron has dropped the finals multiple times.
Tougher talent.
Jordan three-peated twice. Shut up. That's it. That's the end of the
Tougher talent.
conversation.
Tougher
Huh?
talent.
All
Bro,
right.
Weaker
literally
team.
jumped from team to team to win anything.
All
And
right.
then decide to go to one of the best franchises in the world. Get out of here, man.
All right, Dre.
Well, end of discussion. I'll say this, this is padding towards Bray. Nobody's had more of a difficult career or obstacles to go through than LeBron James ever. But he
Hell yeah.
falls short. He falls short to Mike, man. I'm sorry. Mike's the
Fuck
GOAT.
you.
Okay.
Fucking come on, bro.
All right.
Like,
So let me say this. So we got about a little like minute and a half or whatever. I'm going to say Jordan, but the way that LeBron has been playing this season and the Lakers being a number 2 seed right now and playing at such a high level, I'm leaning a little bit. This is kind of the start. Like he's got to win a couple more championships. I'm leaning towards that because
it's
to
bias.
me,
It's bias. It's bias. God damn it. Because you're a Lakers fan.
Lakers
say
Celtics in the
Jordan.
finals. Lakers Celtics in the finals.
and Lakers will
Put
win.
it
All
this way.
right.
Put it this way. I'm gonna say this before we leave. Michael Jordan made the Bulls. The Lakers did not make LeBron, and vice versa. Like they did.
LeBron made the Cavs. LeBron
All
made
right,
the
thank
Cavs.
you guys
Sure,
for
and now
being
he's on the
here.
Lakers.
I appreciate you guys. We could talk forever. We enjoy this time. Hopefully, you guys can follow us and like and subscribe this. Tell your friends, let everybody know, and follow us on social media. Have a good rest of your day. Peace and love.